We're live. Bryce, we're live. Chris, we're live. You ready?
I'm ready. Good morning.
Hello, people. How many thumbs up, how thumbs down do we have now? So before we even live, our ratio is not so good. We have 5 thumbs up and 4 thumbs down. I wonder what the thumbs down are all about. If it's because they know that we're going to be stupid or are stupid, that I'm going to be holding an axe at the start of this video, or if they just really don't like us. Does that sadden you?
No. I'll sleep all right tonight.
So, welcome everyone. We're having to do this a day early because, or 2 days early, because I'm headed to Rupes for the Rupes training event. I guess the entry event, not the advanced event. But I've got a shiny new 8-pound axe. I went to get a sledgehammer, and then I saw this. I'm like, this is even better, because I'm gonna probably end up hacking the stupid Joe in half. I wonder if I'll get a cease and desist letter for this. But seriously though, I'm gonna do a dissection of a couple of pressure washers to see what the motor looks like. And then I figured they'll be a little more difficult to get apart than I am anticipating. So I have a backup plan just in case. So I bought an 8-pound sledge axe, which is pretty much the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I'm glad I have this just in case. We need some help. Like maybe there's a little bit of glue seal around the motor or something. I may need a little help.
That'll be good. We can build you like a mount for the M3. You can mount that in the back.
Like in the back window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So another crazy week. I mean, I gave Bryce his list yesterday, and I just kept writing stuff down of all this stuff we're building and working on. So since last week, what's going on? What have we done?
Well, we have a couple questions I wanted to get to here. Maybe provide an update. I know you're leaving tomorrow with your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
To go to the Rupes training.
Yeah. I'm taking him with me.
And then you put up for sale the advanced training. We've had 3 or 4 people sign up for that in March.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have your seats are coming in today, which you spoke about last week.
Yeah.
According to Old Dominion, those are showing up today.
Yeah, BMW performance seats, and then I've got to figure out how to code, how to program those. Because one of the cool things about them, I didn't even realize this, but the guy that bought my car, my M3, had opted for the heated seats. So even though they're the manual power seats, and he didn't do a lot of the options, he really optioned it well in that he did standalone comfort access, which is where you touch the handle and you don't have to put the key in, and then he did standalone heated seats. And so the BMW performance seats supposedly will accept the heated seat option, which I've been using because it's been rather chilly here in Central Florida. Sorry to you Canadians and other northerners who are freezing your whatever's off.
It's 50 degrees outside. We're wearing jackets and hoodies today. It's cold.
So yeah, the performance seats should get here. I paid $7,500 for them, and then I have a matching Alcantara center console thinger, which should be pretty cool. So I think it was never part of my plan to get those seats for this car. I was happy with the seats until I sat in the 1M, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these things are amazing. So somebody tagged me, and now I got them. So they should be here today. Hopefully they didn't drive through the back of them with a forklift. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how they show up. And Brian Jarocki is the OG YouTube follower who works at Old Dominion and was nice enough to guide me through that process.
Cool.
So thank you, Brian. That kind of leads me actually to something else that I think you want to talk about. You had a surprise email in your inbox after your burpee video. And it's kind of neat sometimes the people that you meet or that you hear from that you don't expect to hear from or that you're surprised to hear from. So kind of tell that story about what happened there.
First of all, what did you think about my burpee performance?
Well, I didn't actually see all 500, but I counted 136 in the video. So I'm trusting you and David that you got through all 500. But the part at the end, Matt sent me a text along the way to kind of give me an update. So, because I wasn't there to watch him, unfortunately. But at the part at the end, you're dripping sweat, and you said, "Suck it, Chris." That made it all worthwhile, right there. That it was all my weeks of dedication and fasting paid off finally.
Okay, good.
I was pleased with the result.
What I really did was I fabricated a time lapse and then spritzed my face with some water like they do in the movies.
Right.
And made that little sweat line right around the collar.
You used your new Press-All spray bottles to
yeah.
spritz yourself.
Yeah, so that was it really wasn't as bad as I thought, and I thought I would be worse off. I was pretty darn sore on Sunday, and again, I kept waiting until I got in shape. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get in good shape, and then I'm going to do it. I'm like, screw it. But I think I may have surprised Dave a little bit with my prowess, so I'm excited about that. He's a real man. Army vet, special forces vet, runs like a sub-3 marathon, and here comes chubby Matty, and I think he was impressed with my prowess, my performance.
That was good. Yeah, he was visiting from the Seattle area. Is that right?
Yeah.
So Matt had some help.
Yeah, that made it way easier. Otherwise, I would have been I wouldn't have kept the rhythm that we kept, because neither one of us wanted to let up, or quit.
Right.
So the beauty of that was we were able to power through it. So we did 250 and then another 150, and did a couple of small breaks in between. So that I put the video up, and then the next morning I got an email, and this has happened several times where I get emails from random celebrity types or people that I didn't expect to watch. Like I've had like professional hockey players. I've had Ryan Longwell watches the videos. He is a Raptor who was a kicker in the NFL for many years. He even offered to teach Ryan how to kick, and I'm like, oh shoot, maybe that's a good idea. Kicker's a good gig.
Yeah.
And Ryan already kicks pretty well. And then I got an email from Rob Orlando, who if you're a CrossFitter, especially if you're an OG CrossFitter from say 2008 to 2012, Rob was one of the biggest names. He I always was so intrigued. He would do Grace, which is my favorite workout, which is 30 clean and jerks for time at 135. Well, he's doing it at 300, and the anger that he has in the video when he misses some reps, I can completely, you guys have seen that, I can completely relate to. And so he shot me an email and said, "Hey, good job on the burpees. Here's a workout that you might want to try." And then he said, we sort of corresponded back and forth. He had a Lime Rock E92 that I think a lot of us can relate to. This is the path I was headed down. Was looking at, first I was looking at 40,000 RM3s, and then 60,000 RM3s, and then 80,000 RM3s, and then before I know it, I'm on the phone with Enthusiast Auto Group talking about a 3,000 mile, $110,000 Lime Rock, perfect spec. And then I had to get myself back to reality and go into that. So I ended up with my M3. So he had which I may have even emailed them about. He has a Lime Rock, which is the orange, special edition manual, car that he sold. He's like, look, I can't enjoy this darn thing because it's too perfect, it's too special, so I can't. I hate driving it because it stresses me out. So now he's out, searching around for another E92. So that was super cool to connect, and it motivated me that shoot. I've got like real fitness people want. I better get my stop eating gosh darn Twinkies. And then I think I ate 3 bowls of Frosted Flakes after that email. So didn't actually work so well.
So Rob, email him at least like weekly to try and keep him on track. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, that would be smart.
We also had a bunch of visitors this past week. Just since the last time we checked in, we had a guy from Iceland stop in, which was pretty neat. Some Canadian visitors, and then yesterday, Reggie from Virginia stopped in, and you guys had a nice long chat in the afternoon.
Yeah, he's a CPA and has been considering going into what I used to do, which is wealth management. And so we were able to sit and talk about what that was like, what my suggestions would be if I could do it again. What would I do? And I started dreaming about imagine if you were a CPA, a CFA, and a CFP. You'd be like one of 12 people in the world. That would be insane. It's something I'd always dreamt of having those designations. It'd be really hard, but something I thought about doing. But so he and I got to sort of sit and chat about that, and I got to reminisce a little bit about what would I have done if I could do it again, or where do I think I was headed. I do think, excuse the arrogance of this, but I think that through Obsessed Garage, I think I was headed toward like a transcendent wealth management business. Just because the people that are watching this video have a tendency to be more mindful of money and success and drive harder, and so I was hoping to be able to provide the world with that information, to be able to help them make a decision whether they wanted to do it themselves or hire somebody to do it, and hopefully hire me. But it wasn't in the cards, and the rules are a bit antiquated when it comes to social media and the modern forms of marketing. So it was a force for me to just do this full time, which I'm glad. I really love that, but I'm doing true passion or chasing that. So we can't keep up with all the cool crap that I keep throwing at you guys anyway. So why not just do what you love every second of every day? That's the way I'm looking at it.
All right, I know we're going to get into some kind of specifics of the Sunjoe, or excuse me, all the pressure washer results.
Yep.
Before we do that, I've seen a couple emails, and I have the ones that are written down here that are still left. So for Sunjoes, we have 3000 max, 3200, 3501, 4001. Because I know we got a couple emails last week after the show. Those are the ones that remain.
We still have the 202E, the 2598, and the 1500. So those three are all on the shelf. I always forget it. We forget about those.
No.
We'll find one of those like 5 years later, with dust all over it, cobwebs.
So those are not set aside for the Sunjoe autopsies?
No, I'm going to do the 1500 and the 3000. The 3000 is really saleable because that's a decent option. But the one I got was the open box, janky, messed up one. So I'm just going to hack that one apart and see what the motor looks like inside. I'm really interested to see, does the 3000 have the same motor as the 1500, the Stupid Joe, the stupid junk, that one. So we have those. We also have all the ARs, which we haven't quite completed yet. You and Bryce have been working on the AR packages, the AR configurator, and then it's done. Yeah,
they're good to go now in the store.
And then Karchers. So Karchers we just finished. So the video of the K4, K5s will be up. I guess it would probably be Thursday or Friday, something like that. Yeah, because we have part 2. So today, this video will be for today, the live stream. Tomorrow will be part 2 of coating the GTS wheels on the 1M. Then we have the install of the wheels of the 1M, so that one I guess would be Thursday, and then Friday we'll probably have the Karcher test. The K4s, K5, K2, K3, K4, K5, they all suck. So it's I don't want to say watch the video. I need the money. I need the views. That's a video that I can tell you right now you probably don't even need to freaking watch because they're not very good.
All right, so do you want to speak to that stuff now then while we're...
Yeah, let me have the spreadsheet. So, there was a really cool kid who I guess went back and watched all the videos and gathered all of the data, and pulled in and created a spreadsheet. And I'm like, I want to copyright this thing before some company steals all the data. So I asked him to take it down. He was cool about it. But and Bryce is going to put it on screen. So the tests were, what was the rated pressure? What did they rate it at? And then what is the what's the measured pressure? So what do we get? Of course, you guys who watched the video saw that. And then what's rated flow versus measured flow? I was doing the bucket test. My flow meter showed up now, like this week. Now that we're done with it. So we did the bucket test, and then we took rated amperage versus measured amperage. Amperage matters largely due to just make sure we can run it on a 15 amp circuit, and then what my thought process was, and I don't have anything to back this up, but if we were going to put a foam cannon or a smaller orifice on it, what I didn't want to do is see like a huge spike, like 16, 17, 18 amps. If we had a 13 amp rated motor, it would seem logical to me that we'd be overdriving it and then have longevity issues. I think what we found on pretty much all of them was that they drew a little bit more current than what they were rated, and then they also drew less current when we modified them. So theoretically, we would be driving the motors less hard, and so hopefully you'll get more out of it, time-wise, longevity-wise. And then we measured the SPL. I think about the test that we did. I think it probably would have been better to take the gun and wand around the side of the building because all of the measurements are rather similar. So we probably would have been better off taking it on the side of the house and measuring the spec to get an idea of what the motor differences are. We would have probably seen bigger disparities in loudness, but I wanted to do it real world. How loud is it going to be when if your neighbor's 25 feet away and it's 5 a.m. and you're out washing your car, how loud is it going to sound? And so I think that was my methodology behind actually holding the gun and wand with the thing operating and then being 15 feet away to get a spec there. And then we have the weight. I didn't measure the weight. These were the supplied weights that they gave us. We have whether it accepts a foam cannon with the OE gun. This is a new development since I even made the video. MTM has already responded to this. They now have a stubby plug that I was talking about. You couldn't fit a standard plug in the end of the wands of like the Greenworks, the Ryobis, and some of the other pressure washers. And so now you're able to do that by us applying a stubby thing. So we're gonna have to go and already change the darn thing that we're not done with yet. But that is something that we tested. Does it have total stop? Pretty much every single pressure washer has total stop, with the exception of the Ryobi 2300. They're brushless that just ran constantly. And then we did our testing of how they performed when we modified them. So what I was looking for that combination of flow versus pressure. So we just did it largely by feel. And the target is somewhere around 1,000 or 1,100 psi, and then how much flow are we gonna get? And I could kind of figure that out largely by just by feel on what how should we set it up. So some of them felt better by having a little less pressure because then we could get a little bit more flow out of them. So what I found is that if we measured low output OE with the OE gun, then I was probably going to have to sacrifice pressure and go a little lower pressure to try to get a little more flow out of it. So I'm going to make a video on this stuff, but I've kind of sat down and figured out a ranking of, if I had a choice, if you were asking for my advice, which pressure washers would you choose? So the K1700 Cube and K1700 from Karcher were my favorite. It seems as though the motors on those are very different. It seems as though those are built in a different place than the others, which all seem to be. It seems like the Ryobis and Greenworks are built in the same spot, and then the ARs and the Sunjos are built in the same spot. Or at least that's what it seems like, or what I was able to get out of it. So the K1700 did 1.45 gallons per minute at 1,000 psi, so that was toward the higher end. But the fittings were standard, so you could just very easily adapt a hose and a gun and a wand without doing any funky adapters, any 15 millimeter sized adapters. So that was my favorite. And we talked about this a little bit last week. I actually have been in discussions with them about how we could offer that as part of a package. I'm pretty confident that one. Not only did it surprise me, but it seems pretty high quality as well. The second rated one, I think, is a Greenworks 2000. I don't know what's going on with Greenworks, whether they're discontinuing or changing or what. But worst case, just go to greenworks.com and buy it. They have them. So I don't know what Lowe's is doing with them. But if you're going to buy this, then I don't think it's worth. I know what happens with these pressure washers. Everybody's looking for a deal, right? So I'd say screw the deal and get the one that you want. And so if you're getting, if you decided the Greenworks is the one for you, don't be lazy, don't be hasty. Just find it and order it. And if it costs $149 instead of $129, just pony up the $20. Go work an extra hour or whatever you got to do to get the machine. And maybe I'm out of touch, but I'm not going to chase and drive all the way across town for $12. So I would suggest, the Greenworks 2000 is the second choice. That one measured 1.47 GPM at 1,025 PSI. So I wouldn't get hung up on hundredths of flow or hundredths of a gallon or even a tenth of a gallon. It really doesn't matter all that much. So when I'm saying it's my second favorite, it's about fittings, the ergonomics, what it looked like, how it was built. So a lot of this is just subjective touch and feely stuff where I'm coming up with these numbers. My third favorite would have been the 16 or 1700 from Ryobi. I'd take the 1600 over the 1800. The specs actually measured identically, so it's probably the same pump, but drew a little less current. It was a little less money. It drew a little more current, but it was a little less money. It was a little more compact. So why would you buy the bigger, bulkier 1800 when you can get the smaller, compact one if it's going to do pretty much the same thing? And the 1700. So I ranked those both 3 because they're clearly the same pump. So I would get, it just depends on whether you want it on a cart or not. The Ryobi 2300 is not so great because it actually had less flow and ran constantly. So I wouldn't do that. And then the fourth ranked, I would put the SPX 4000, 3000, 3200, 3001. I'd take the 3001 out of the equation, which is ironically the most popular pressure washer I've seen. Because that has a stupid hose reel. Why would you need that? Just get the 3000. But it looks like the 3000 is a little harder to get your hands on. So if you have to get the 3001, then you just take the hose reel off and disconnect it. So the 3000, 3200, 4000 did right around 1.45, 1.4 GPM. The 4000 would be the one that you could mount on the wall. You could take it off the cart. So of the 3000, 4000 series, it really comes down to what are you going to use it for? Where are you going to put it? How are you going to use it? But they're all the same pump. It's the same darn machine. So take your pick. Fifth would be the SPX 202E. Again, I'd only buy that over. So you'd buy that over like the Ryobi 1600 if that's just the one that you had to get for some reason, like it was at the place you were buying it, or it was on sale, or whatever. Any sale price you're going to get on the 202E is going to be negated by the fact that you got to buy a bunch of extra, $30 extra fittings to make it work. So I would go back to the Ryobi, but it was a decent machine. Somebody needs to buy that one, because I'm giving it to you for free when you buy the Ultimate package. And then the sixth ranked would be the AR stuff. The 383 or the 383 SS. I think it really depends on 383 versus the SS. Are you going to use the OE gun? If you're going to use the OE gun, then it would make sense to pay the extra for the for the 383 SS. But the 383 isn't as pretty. But that was the probably one of the highest measured flow pressure washers. It measured 1.52 GPM at 1100 PSI. It actually would have measured a little bit more had I gone down or up to a 3.5 nozzle and brought the pressure down to say 900. It probably would have measured 1.6 or so. So that is an option. The reason why, again, having a 7/100ths more flow is not worth the fact that I've got to pay $30, $40 more for fittings, and I've got all these janky connections in order to make it work. So that's why I would still rather have a Greenworks or rather have the Karcher. We got a few blanks to fill in, and then once I get all these pressure washers out of here, I'll probably go and buy the Sunjo Pros and the AR. Really, the only AR that makes sense, they have a lot of the professional line, but the only one that makes sense is the TSS or the TSS Hot. Those are rated 1900 psi, 2.1 GPM. And it weighs 67 pounds. So I've used one of those before. I've touched and felt them. They're pretty decent. But again, for $800, I'd rather have a Krenzler for $950. Because I'm not going to use the gun and water and all that crap that comes with it anyway. There's no question, the quality difference between AR and Sunjo AR and Krenzler is, to me, is pretty undeniable. So anyway, the tests were pretty successful. We got a lot of data, and we're going to clean this up and create a PDF, and I'm going to copyright it and then put it on my site. So people will be able to access that information when they're making a buying decision. I think we still have more work to do to really make it intuitive. There's so many options that it gets complicated. Part of the point of this is to scale this and get people off our back about these questions. So I need to somehow figure out how to make it. Maybe I need to make a video. I'm not sure, but we'll figure out how to organize this properly to where people can figure it out. What I'm not particularly interested in, if you're too cheap to support the cause here, then leave me out of it. If you buy some garbage Flexzilla hose or some other bull crap, then don't call me asking me how to hook it up. Is what this is going to end up being. I've literally given you everything you need to do. Don't be too lazy if you're trying to be cheap, you can't be lazy. So I'd say do the darn work and looking through and sifting through all the information. But there is clearly some refinement that we can make to this as we work through the details of how to get people through or get people what they're looking for. So. Again, I'll be making a wrap-up video and making a dissection video on this, and probably give me a couple of months before I buy the crappy professional stuff, to compare to the Krenzler for people trying to save $12 over the darn real deal. So, and then I can say why, and a lot of it is by feel, and trust me, what other freaking psychopath has bought 70 pressure washers? So just give me the benefit of the doubt here. Stop questioning crap and just listen to me. I haven't steered you wrong yet. So
speaking from experience, nobody else has done it. All right, so let me ask you this then, because I used to, in my former life, I was a teacher. Mm-hmm. And I judged a lot of science fairs, and I judged some other fairs. And one of the questions I always like to ask students after they finish their project was, okay, let's say you could go back and do this again. What would you change? What would you do differently? How would you improve on this process, or what would you want to do differently to come out with something better?
Well, the smarter thing would have been to buy one grouping at a time, and I would have felt less pain, less stress. But then again, it wouldn't have had the same effect of really showing people what I'm about.
Right.
There's me, right, which you guys and you guys know, and then there's the perception of how crazy I actually am. Like, people make up a story about whatever it is. I say this a lot of times about my friend Larry Kosilla. There's Larry, and then there's the perception or the story that people have made up that Larry hasn't told. There's the perception that they have of him and who he is. And so this me buying 50 pressure washers at a time is a pretty accurate perception, even though it would have been much smarter to do it a little slower, a little bit more calculated, and I wouldn't have had all this crap in the way. I probably would have gotten the flow meter sooner. That would have saved us 51 minutes of our lives. Actually, probably triple that because you got to carry it in, dump it out, put the bucket back together. Rather than just clipping the flow meter, we had to walk into the scale and then do the calculations and all of that. So I would have had a flow meter, available right from the get. But other than that, I mean, this is what I assumed it would be. And so now we have to clean up the spreadsheet, provide that information, make it look pretty, and make it look understandable, so that people have access to it, and then clean up the site. I knew what it was going to be. I knew how in depth it was going to be, and the only other thing I would do differently, I would have done it a lot sooner. I guess I couldn't have. I mean, I couldn't have done this if I wasn't doing this full time, and I didn't have you guys to do it with me. It would have taken years to get through it. Instead, we put in hundreds of hours in a rather short, concentrated period of time.
Okay, we got, first of all, my mom is watching, so hi, Mom. It's nice to see. And happy birthday to my dad. Today's his birthday. So, yeah, she just commented.
That's awesome.
So
oh, Lord.
I think your mom's watching, too. So
She better not be stealing our darn bandwidth. She better watch it on cell phone, not Wi-Fi.
All right, so you had a spray bottle kind of small video or small part of a video come out this past week. So a couple of folks are asking about the results on that. How do you feel about them? Is there going to be a dedicated video coming out soon about those? What's the deal?
So this is one of the things that, thanks to George for referring me to these things. The reason why I haven't been as transparent with them as I have in the past is I'm learning a little bit as time goes on and sharing it a bit more calculated, because it stresses me out when I set people up for disappointment, when I talk about things because I'm sharing the day-to-day in my life and then it doesn't happen. And so I think that I found the bottle. And then when we just talked about the perception of me, when I say I think I found the bottle, some people say, oh my gosh, it's perfect. But it's not. And it's not even close to perfect. Is it the best I found? Yeah, by far. And the other assumption is that I think the other thing people make up is that I have infinite funds and then I can just write $500,000 checks to everybody that needs it. But the where I'm at today and where Obsessed Garage is at today is I'm compiling and curating the best things in the world or the best thing that I know of in the world, and I'm having to use what's available. And then how many emails do I get a week where somebody's like, look, I can make this for you, I can improve this for you. But that process is months and months and hours, and there's only so much time and energy and to build this. And I have the rest of my life to get this done. But with these bottles, people are just making comments, well, you should do this or do that. How? You can't just make a new bottle. Like, well, you should make it transparent, you should change the color. Well, how? I mean, the company doesn't know me from squat. So I call them, and I'm begging them to let me even buy the darn things. And they're not going to make some special bottle for me, and they're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars having a new mold and using, creating new colors and all this stuff, until we show them something. Look at Mosmatic. Mosmatic wasn't going to make me a gun. They didn't even want to import the darn thing. They already made the gun that we have now that they didn't even want to bring in. I had to beg them, and then I had to show them. And we had to sell thousands of them before now we have an audience. And then look at how much time and energy and and resources I've spent just getting that. And we're a year beyond what I thought it would be that we would have it. Now I'm ready to modify it again. So the bottles are good, I think. I think they can look cool with the right kind of label on it. I think there's some things that we already want to improve, but that's not happening anytime soon. So what we're going to have, and I'm going to yell this from the treetops every single moment with these bottles when you get them, the things that I'm disappointed in is the atomization, how it sprays. Sometimes it's like a little wonky to the right or to the left. And it sprays a little bit more product than I think we need. But the ergonomics of the bottle, The way that it's designed is so different than anything else. You'd only be able to tell that if you put it in your hand. But it's not like Krenzler, where I'm going to go and yell and scream about how it's the greatest thing ever. It's not. And so I'm sure I'll take a lot of heat for it, and people yelling at me how you're stupid and this is junk. It's not junk. They're great, but they're not perfect. It's I said this in the last little teaser of the video that I had before. It's a lot like the lighting solution that we have. They're 5,000K Chinese imported bulbs to a little company in Texas that found them at some trade show and brought them in. And they're the typical white baked paint enamel, aluminum fixtures, but they're not what I want ultimately. And I would love to tomorrow spend 300 hours and spend $1 million designing my own light, but we're just not there yet. Like I said, I've got the rest of my life to figure this out. So the bottles are good. We have some really funky colors. I've got to figure out. I've got to play with them a little more. I put a bunch of stuff in the bottles. I've got to figure out what colors and what sizes I would bring in, and then we need to get them in the hands of the people. Let them beat the crap out of them. I'm going to need people to buy them, not return them, and use them. And when it breaks, I'm going to need the people to to just punt it and get another one and try it and use it with different products. I can't guarantee the world's, I need help with this kind of thing in order to, just like with Mosmatic. I mean, we've had 3 different instances where we sent out 100, 200 guns or wands, and there was a problem with it. And, if I have to give this implicit guarantee on every product, and I don't get help from you guys to help me do this and develop these things and be a part of early adopting, then it's not going to work. And so, I talk about this with entry-level pressure washers. Somebody who buys a $100 pressure washer has this entitlement that it's going to be great for the entirety of their life and the life of the product. And yet someone will buy a Krenzler and it shows up cracked in half because UPS punted it off the back of the truck, and the guys will try to fix it. So with these bottles, that's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need to sell tens of thousands of them in their current form in order to be able to go back to Pressall in Germany and say, hey, here's what we need. We need this fixed, this fixed, this fixed. But they're not going to do that until we do it, test it. It might not be tens of thousands, but it's going to be a lot before at least a few dozen orders of the product containers come over before I can do this. Because I can yell and kick and scream and promise. Imagine I came to you and so let's say you're a business owner. Imagine this goof came to you. You don't watch the YouTube or know anything about me. And I start telling you the story about how I was a financial advisor. I went crazy. And then I started a YouTube channel. And now I'm selling millions of dollars of stuff to really cool, really discerning consumers who you want to sell to. And they immediately are thinking I'm nuts. And when especially when English is their second language. So anyway, that's what's going on with the bottles. I don't know when. I don't have samples to send out to people. I don't even barely have enough samples for myself. And I'm not really into sending out free stuff anyway. You guys know that. I'd rather test it myself. So anyway, I'm gonna need to I'm gonna vet it as much as I can vet it personally, and then I'm gonna put it in the store and we're gonna sell it. And then the ultimate goal is to be able to, to sell them with a label, with an Obsessed Garage style, very clean label on it, either full or empty. Full with product that I recommend, or empty to be able to put the product you want in it, and it'll be generically branded to do that. The other problem we'll run into is that I'm going to need like a matching bottle for soap, which is not going to be in the cards anytime soon. So we're years in development of this, and I'm years into searching for it. I found a viable solution, and now it'll be years into the development of improving the product, which will be part of the fun. But don't assume that it's like perfection from the get-go. it takes a while to figure this stuff out.
I got a couple CR spotless questions that popped up. How crucial is the CR spotless setup? What determines if you choose high versus medium output?
You always need high output. The medium outputs are worthless unless you're gonna not use it. Even then, the CR stuff, I'm going to be coming out with solutions to modify them soon, where you can choose to use the cartridges or not. The thing I like about CR Spotless is the fit and finish of it. It's nice, it's clean, it's vetted, it looks great. It looks great if you mount it on the wall. If you have really, really hard water, you have the option to go and do their resin replacement program, and it's going to be costly. You're going to spend 50, 60, 80 bucks a month, and getting resin all the time in order to get to keep yourself in clean, spot-free water. Is it necessary? No, it's not. It's more necessary if you suffer from the ability to get up at 5 a.m. and wash your car before the sun comes up, or you just have a place where there's just sun no matter what, and the CR can help you in that washing process. I just ordered my secondary solution. There's an RV guy. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it, Glenn. And so Glenn has created he's gone to a water filtration company and has created a 10 GPM capable, bypassable, a resin tank. It's ugly, but that's something I'm probably going to offer as well. And so I'm going to buy them, test them, photograph them. His site looks like it was it's like a GoDaddy prefab site or some 1997 site that and he's retired and travels the world and just has this little side business that's kind of blown up, and so I'm gonna get the products and test it and then probably start offering them as an alternative for when you need a higher flowing solution. I mean, it's like $550 for a tank that does 4,000 gallons instead of 300 gallons of water in higher flowing situations. So I'm going to have that as an option as well.
All right, here's a good question for you, and this might lead you to a couple updates as well. Are you still doing garage consulting for those looking for the full OG solution, flooring, lighting, cabinets, etc.?
Yeah. Yeah, you just email me, matt@obsessedgarage.com, and I'll help you do it. And, I haven't been charging any consulting fees. I've just kind of been able to hopefully sell you the products and make the margin on the product. I think in the future, this is another thing I'd like to define or refine and actually create a deck. Here's what I charge. Here's what it costs. If you want me to come there, this is what it costs. If you want me to, consult via Zoom or some sort of virtual meeting, here's what it costs. If you want to just have a phone conversation, and I found in life, nobody wants to pay for anything, but people also don't want things that are free because you get what you pay for. And so if I create a system and create, here's what you're going to get, and create a consulting service. I do think there's also potential. There's a potential television show in there where I fly around all over the place and we do, Obsessed Garage, Level Garage, and we can do it. It doesn't have to be, like Jim Black's garage in North Carolina where it's amazing. It can be like my dad's garage where it's 20 by 20. We do some flooring, lighting, and try to solve some of the problems that you have in a smaller garage. So. I'd like to be able to do that kind of stuff, and I might even shoot a pilot at some point and see if I can go sell that to a network, or even just create my own network, YouTube type network, or through the membership program or something like that.
All right, good. I'm glad you brought that up because there's a question about membership program. When is there a timeline? This comes up often.
We're running into software issues and then again time and energy. Again, that's gonna correspond with the releasing or the letting back into the wild the 1M. I am pretty certain that's going to be attached to it somehow. So again, the membership program is going to be $240 a year, 10% off, free shipping for those that want that solution. Also, you'd get priority. Let's say we got 200 orders today, the membership orders would go to the top of the line, get shipped out quicker. Not that it really matters because we get pretty much everything shipped the same day anyway. But the other option will be $60 a year, and I'm just going to do yearly, not monthly. It'll be $60 a year for access to inside the Hex. It'll be branded inside the Hex, and that'll get you. I'm going to do a podcast, a video podcast every week, and a vlog every week. Talking more in depth of life and business and all of that. And then what I'm thinking is that you'd get a single entry into winning the 1M for the standard membership. You'd get 3 entries if you signed up for the the 240 service. And shoot, if I could get 2,000 or 3,000 people, I could raise a couple $100,000. It'd be amazing. So I'm also looking into attaching that to some form of a charity. I struggle with charities because they're just it's just a business. I wish they'd just freaking call it a business. They have a lot of times charities have I know of charities where we do an infinitely amount more revenue than they do, and they've got 50 employees. Like, why do you need 50 employees? I'm gonna get 5 and give the money where it's supposed to go. So maybe attaching it to something obsessive compulsive disorder related. I'd rather directly impact humans, and if we're going to do that, so let's say it was just insane, and I raised $500,000, give $50,000 away, repurpose the rest of the money to get a better, get me in a better position to build the Obsessed Garage destination, and buy the next car and do the next project or the next thing. What I don't want to do is get into this whole I'm giving cars away to make $500,000 every time. But that's the hope. I'm also probably going to create some sort of specific T-shirt for that. If you became a member, you get access to the membership program, and you want to buy more spots to win, greater chance to win, then you buy a $50 T-shirt or something stupid, and it's a cool T-shirt that you can only get for that. If I'm going to do a T-shirt, it's going to be legit. And then maybe get some more entries and raise some more money there, and we'll see. The other thing I'm toying with is the idea of giving you an actual counter. Here's how much money's been raised, which would, for some people, will backfire against me. For others, they'd be super excited that the money showed up, again, some people don't like to see people profit in life, but I don't give a crap about those people. They can get frickin' lost, So I'm working my face off here. So if it's successful, then great. If it's not, then I just won't do it again. Hopefully, I don't end up raising like $12,000 and have 15, have like 150 members, and then I end up giving away a 1M. I'm gonna have 80 grand into this car, and I'm freaking screwed. So that would be very bad.
Are OG employees eligible for this?
They are not.
Oh, okay.
You have to be in the U.S. I mean, I guess it can't stop you if you fake being in the U.S. and you fly over here and take possession of the car and figure it out on your own. That's up to you. But you'll have to be in the U.S. I mean, I don't care if you're in Hawaii. You win the car, you're going to pay to get it to you. So shipping would be to the continental U.S. And then if you're in Alaska, get your fat rear end on a plane, get in the car and drive it there. That's the way I look at it. Canada, I don't know that it would be legal. I don't know. So I've got to, before I speak out of turn, I've got to get an attorney. It's probably going to cost like $5,000 or $6,000 just to get this figured out. So that's the plan for that.
All right. We have a question from someone in New Jersey, Scooby Freak 86. I don't think that's his real name.
That would be probably a Subaru enthusiast.
Yeah. He's trying to justify the 13-hour drive from New Jersey to the OG meetup in June. Mm-hmm. Matt's still up for driving my modified 2017 STI. More importantly, though, for folks who want to attend that, what can they expect? Like him, if he's going to come a long way, what's on the docket?
Yeah, I mean, lots of people drive. To come to the Smoky Mountains, lots of people drive from all over the place. I mean, it's 10 hours for me, something like that, 8 to 10 hours for me to get there. So it's worth the drive. So it's super chill. We don't have like big events planned. We'll probably have, 30, 40, 50 cars, something like that at Fontana Village. Fontana Village is a little roachy, but it like literally roachy. I mean, they had like a bug extermination when we were there last time because there was a rat infestation. But don't let that scare you. If I'm as snobby as I am, if I can stay there, then you can stomach it too. So we generally get together and grab dinner, and it's super weird because everybody's paying their own bill. So we have 75 individual checks, and then we go out for a drive. And if you've never been in the Smoky Mountains, it's what ends up happening is we'll get into groups of 10 or 12 or something like that, and you kind of choose, do you want to go with somebody fast or slow? And if you happen to get in the fast group and get dropped, then you just kind of pick up and grab another group the next time, and we go out and drive. It's amazing. Hopefully I'm not in a crazy streak. Last year I was in the middle of a crazy streak, so I just hitched a ride up there and rode with other people. So hopefully I'll be driving my own car. But it's a unique experience where, again, anytime you get together with other Obsessed Garage people, you almost always end up with a friend for life, or at least a friend for a little while. So it's unexplainable. And so when I'm there, Ed Camden runs it. I just kind of show up and I'm along for the ride. So to set your expectations, there's no like big presentation. This is just a bunch of friends that don't know they're friends yet getting together, and there's magic that happens. And then we go and drive around the mountains, and many of us now know the roads pretty well. So that's the story.
All right. Quick question. Best topper for CSL plus XOV4?
I'm putting Beadmaker on it. So C2V3 is good as well. That's the recommended topper for it, but I'm putting Beadmaker on because it looks better. And as long as you're putting Beadmaker on regularly, then who cares about longevity? Put it on once a week, once every 2 weeks. Who freaking cares if it lasts 6 months or not? I don't know why anybody cares about any lasting. If you're putting the base product on and you're topping it and you're caring for it, then you're going to end up with contamination before the product fails. Almost always. You end up either with marring, scratching, or contamination before your product disappears because you're always adding product to it. And CSL is going to last years if you're caring for it. But again, you're going to end up contamination 18 months in. You're going to want to strip it off and start over. But I like how slick that combination is. It just doesn't feel like a typical grabby coating. And from what I've found, the G-Technic stuff is really stable. You know what you're getting when you get a bottle. Some of the other stuff you're not sure what you're going to get. The Kamikaze is a great product. It depends on which batch you got and if you could even get it when you wanted to get it, and the G-Technic stuff is half the cost or less. But my first favorite look is Kamikaze ISM. But my favorite overall is Crystal Serum Light out of all the coatings that I've messed with, and I've messed with quite a few of them.
All right. Do you have any rubber tracks at OGHQ?
Yeah, we have it right here next to the where all the people, my dad and you guys do packing and shipping stuff. So yeah, we have I don't know, a 10 by 20 area, something like that. And I've got more at the wash bay if you needed to go check it out and walk on it.
All right, yeah, because we get a lot of visits here from all sorts of people, which is really neat. We got one guy here in the chat who said he's coming on Monday.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah. So what's your schedule for you and your dad are flying out tomorrow? Come back Sunday. Is that how this works?
Yeah, fly out tomorrow. Get there. We have everybody comes and we congregate in the evening at the hotel, and then we have training Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going over to Adams. I've got to go over to Nick Jones and check out his garage build. He built a Morton building with all the OG stuff, Prevost, Jenny, Swiss track, the whole nine. He's going to have the whole setup. He ended up doing a Benpack SP7X lift, Mosmatic boom pole, Krenzel pressure washer, all the stuff that we all want. So he's doing all that. So I'm going to hopefully get over there and check it out. and it's gonna be freezing my butt off. And then we leave Sunday, come back and back to the old grind, Chris. Back to the old slaving away in Obsessed Garage.
I'll be here working the salt mines while you guys are having fun. Can you polish matte black rims that have scratches?
No. If it's satin, yes. If it's matte, no. You'll ruin it.
All right. Have you heard about the SGCB polishers? If you have, what are your thoughts on them?
If I haven't heard of it, they probably suck, so no. You know, I've been railing a little bit against this lately here. Oh, wait. It was MATCC. Is that what it was? What was that? Matt CC? No, it was something else he said. So think about this. Let's use our heads here. So you have a company that makes something, and they pour their heart and soul into it. And so they sometimes they'll pursue a patent, sometimes they won't, sometimes they'll pursue copywriting and some sort of trademarking. I guess it would be not copywriting but trademarking, and then some Chinese company, they walk around SEMA with taking pictures and scanners and trying to steal product ideas. And so Max Shine, MATC, JG, blah blah, all these garbage companies that we're cheaping out on, we're basically cutting off our nose to spite our face by supporting this crap and having this get mine mentality that, well, the Matt CC foam cannon is just as good as the MTM. And what you're doing by buying that is you're supporting IP theft. You're supporting the theft of somebody's idea. And when you don't give a crap and you just do that, and you're eventually that's going to come back to bite you someday. And I'm not a privacy guy. I mean, shoot, I'd throw it all out there. I'm not a paranoid individual, but I got in a fight with some Chinese dude from MATCC who's saying that, well, MTM wasn't the first one to come out with a foam cannon, so make your own. Why did you copy theirs and make a crappy version of it? And then I see all these goofballs on YouTube or Instagram giving people a hard time, like guys like me, a hard time for spending $90 on the real thing. Or, some dude last night on Instagram, I bought IND's painted black grills. IND created that. That was their frickin' idea. And if it wasn't their idea, they were one of the pioneers to help improve it. So when you're buying this Chinese knockoff crap, first of all, it's not as good. And then secondly, you're supporting the intellectual property theft. And again, it doesn't matter to you until it happens to you. Let's say you came up with this great wheel design and you started a company, or you whatever. Take your pick. You came out with some new protein powder or something like that, and then somebody steals it. So I'm a big advocate of working my face off to make more money, and then supporting the products or supporting things that are innovators. So Max Shine, bull crap. I even struggle with Adam's Swirl Killer, bull crap. I'm one of the biggest Adams fanboys on the planet. Matt CC, bull crap. Don't buy that garbage. eBay knockoffs junk. Don't do it. So what was the question? I forget. But so no, don't buy that darn polisher. First of all, it's going to be some piece of crap. And then secondly, why are you chasing when the thing's already in front of you? Just buy the real thing. Buy a Rupes version 1 instead of some company that's stolen their intellectual property. No, I get it. Like Griot's boss. So here's an example of, again, I'm setting my definition, or I'm having an opinion here and a judgment that I shouldn't have. But Griot's boss, so Rupes came out and pioneered long throw machines, and Griot's is like, look, our machine is now basically obsolete. Their standard 8mm machine that they've gone out and had manufactured and patented, and then which of course they stole the idea from Porter Cable. So I'm all for competition. Let's make it better. Let's improve the product. So Griot's boss went and they attempted to improve upon the Rupes polisher. And they provide things like a washer in it, and they have different backing plates and different pads. And so, Griot's went and made an effort to improve upon some technology or some idea. They're not stealing, they're not stealing it. They're competing with it. So there's a big difference between competition and just outright theft. And I don't support that, and I rail against that. And I'm probably going to become more vocal, and especially as I see more cheap versus expensive bullcrap videos that people make just to pander. It's almost as stupid as people making videos about a new car that comes out and pretending like they're going to get it. You're not going to get it. It's like these goofy YouTubes. Well, the new GT500 came out. I might get one. No, you won't. I'd make a video about a GT500 if I was going to frickin' get one, or I was trying my hardest to get one. Like, I've made videos about the 991.2 GT3. I didn't make a video about the 991.2 GT3 because I was, dreaming. I was dreaming because I, might get one when I'm never going to get one. When I actually went and put a frickin' deposit down and tried to get one. Anyway, that wasn't the question. I'm getting fired. I'm fired up today.
This is good. This is good. So it sounds like you're all for making things better, but not making things cheaper, just for the sake of.
And even making things better is frustrating to the company that innovated. Apple does something, and now every freaking crappy laptop looks like an Apple laptop. That's got to be frustrating for the designers that innovated. But I think you'd need to look at it. You'd need to look at it as well. It's flattering that people are going to copy what is successful. Like the dude who blatantly copied my freaking website and started going to the suppliers and selling the same crap that I'm selling in the exact same fashion, and he's hiding under the competition guys. That's bull crap. But if somebody uses someone or some company as a muse, and then I've done it, and then go and do it in their own brand, their own style, and their own way. So there's a fine line between theft and competition, improvement. Somebody copies your website and marks everything down 10%. That's stupid. So Max Shine, don't frickin' email me anymore because I'm punted in the trash with my middle fingers up in my pocket. That's for sure. So when I see some YouTube goof talking about cheaper's better, get lost. That's stupid. Don't support that crap.
When are the grit guards, bucket handles, that sort of stuff coming to the OG store? Just sort of talk about what you want to do with buckets and where we are with them.
We have them. It's like, which one do we do? Do we do the pressure washers first? Or do we do the buckets first? Do we do the Prevost stuff? So we have them. We need to get them. Bryce has the configurator basically done. We have to photograph and do all the pictures and stuff. So hopefully we'll have that either this week or next.
So for now, if you know what you want, you have. I want these buckets, or I want this many. Just email me.
Yeah, or even if you don't know what you want, you have an idea. We can guide you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do it custom.
And you mentioned this earlier, your words, and I know where these came from, about having an opinion or having a judgment. Mm-hmm. And I saw a couple of discussions via email this week, and I've heard you speak about this before. We have a lot of people who want to start their own detailing business, or they want to do something for themselves, and you recommend the idea of, at some point, getting coaching help. So can you address that and how that works for you and the value that you get from that as the business owner?
So I'll give you an example. I wanted to buy that building out back here, right? So I'm meeting with Rick and Nancy, my coaches, and they're like, yeah, you need to pursue this. And it's funny because they already know, they've seen it 1,000 times, so they know. I went and started looking at the building. First of all, I thought it was 350. I thought it was 3,600 square feet. Well, now it's 550. It's 3,200 square feet. And so, I start to justify things, and I think you see this in me. I go in. I'm like, make things happen. And so I went over there and found this out, and I go back to them, and then we have a discussion, and they don't ever tell me anything. it's like a big waste of money, and that they don't tell me squat. They just guide me, because someone tells you something, you're not going to do it. Usually, especially someone like me, I need to figure it out on my. And so this my next idea. Well, what I need to do is I need to build the garage at my house, because I'm going to do that anyway. That's part of the plan. It's part of the longer term goal. And what I'll do is we'll just take the garage out of here, and then we'll just send people. So when people come and visit, they'll come visit the warehouse, and then they'll come over there and visit, all the products on display, but like even here, like we don't have it set up as a retail store. We have it set up like the way that we functionally use it. That's going to be the style of Obsessed Garage as a business in the future. And so I'm talking to them and saying, look, I think my next step is here. I'm always looking for what's the next thing, instead of just enjoying today. So part of it is they're fighting me back to enjoying where you're at this moment. So the next plan was, well, I'll build the garage at my house. We'll move all the stuff over there, and then we'll have room here, and then hopefully we can buy this building a little later on, and then we can do all the warehousing here and do all the demonstration over at my house a mile away. And so then Rick starts guiding me toward this realization that, so you're going to be over there, and everybody's going to be over here. And right now, everybody gets to, you, Bryce, my parents, the people that come here, even though I'm creating this chaos, that's part of the appeal, right? That people feel like they're a part of this, part of this thing, both people visiting, me, you, everybody. So even though a lot of it's an inconvenience, when Bryce is super uncomfortable when someone walks in the door and he has to greet them, if he didn't have that, he may feel more isolated. And so I'm looking at it from a real estate and a logistics perspective, and which is the way I think about it. And if I didn't have a coach, I would have never thought about the human part of it at all. I would have just thought about the inconvenience of me making you guys move crap around 7 times a week when I'm doing whatever project I'm doing. But if I'm not doing that, then you're not involved, and then we disconnect, and then I kind of lose it. And then I become this elitist CEO type rather than we're in this together, and we lose the culture. And so a coach for me helps me not make that mistake. Again, so if I'm going to build a garage, I'm going to build a garage for me. I'm not going to build a garage and then do it under the guise that I'm doing it for the business. I'm going to do it for me, which is what I would have been doing anyway. And so if so having a coach, that's just one rather sophisticated culture example of the human element of things that business really is, that I pay a significant amount of money. It seems so trivial, and now that I'm telling you this story, you're sitting, and most people would say, I would have known that. Bull crap. Or maybe you would have known that, but you wouldn't have known something else. I'm saying bull crap a lot today. So having a coach helps with the blind spots. It'd be like having a swing coach in golf, or a coach if you're a rower, and a form coach, or a nutritionist or something like that. That's what it is for me, and it's probably why and hopefully how I'll end up with culture. It's why I ended up with you as my right-hand man rather than someone that was like me, because I would have just wanted to find somebody like me that I could pay a lot less than what I'm making, and have him not steal it all. I'm looking for somebody to complement, and I would have never found that, or never figured that out on my own, or likely wouldn't have, or found someone like Bryce or my parents, or whatever. My parents were easy because they were my parents, and they, I had a need, and they were willing to help that. But culture is something that a coach can help you with, amongst other things.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. You said they've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And for me, because I've worked with your coaches as well, and that's the experience they have, is they have seen everything that you're going through as a new business owner starting this new business 1,000 times or more. And they know what you're going to run into, and they know, like you said, they're not going to tell you this. They're going to guide you. And just like pick your favorite golfer, Tiger Woods, he needs a swing coach.
Yep.
Everybody needs somebody to kind of who's been there and who can see it and say, okay, let's look at it from this perspective, because otherwise you get a bunch of sycophants working for you, and you're just,
and they hate you, and they're doing it for a job, and you lose the culture. So another thing that really dawns on me in my current psyche, or this current discovery process, just think about this logically. So we bought, let's just use buckets as an example. So let's say we're in the bucket business, and all I'm selling is my $350 buckets. And so now the goal is, let's say we sold 100 of them. And we're like, sweet. Well, so now we need some space to put those 100 buckets, because now we're going to try to sell 200 of them. And so we get some space. And then I need a person to help package those buckets, and I need another person to take the orders for the buckets, because I'm out selling the buckets. And so then we sell 200 buckets, and we need a little bit bigger space. So then we go get a little bit of bigger space, and then we need an extra person to help with the packing of the buckets. And so then we sell more buckets. And so all the while, every dollar that I make on the buckets goes back to buying more buckets. And then when we buy more buckets, then we need a third person, and the fourth person, and the fifth person, and the 10th person, and the bigger warehouse, and the more buckets, and the more inventory, and the more inventory, and the more people, and the more people, and the more people. And where a lot of businesses make mistakes, I think, and this is something I would have never considered, because this is the goal: growth, 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 growth. But if you don't extract from that, if you don't create culture around the next person, the next person, the next person, if you don't figure out a way to pay yourself as a business owner, pay your employees, figure out who's going to be responsible for what, build structures, you end up just with more inventory and more headaches, more humans, more headaches, more humans, more headaches. So you end up making the same. Let's say you were making $1,000 selling 100 buckets. Now you're selling 50,000 buckets, and you're making the same frickin' $1,000 if you don't do it right. And that happens all the time. But because now you have a bunch of cash flow, you have a bunch of cash moving, it feels like you have lots of money. But you end up, if you don't structure this, if you don't calculate this, if you don't pay yourself, if you don't extract from that, you don't want to rob the business. But if you don't extract from that, you can get lost in it and end up with this massive business that then fails because you grew too fast and you didn't do it responsibly. And without a coach, you'll have a really hard time seeing that. At least most people will. Unless the growth is just so aggressive and so violent and so profitable that the money just flows outward, which is very rare. You'd have to be selling a really cheap product for a lot of profit or a lot of premium. Then you end up with this. You're just chasing the inventory. You're chasing whatever the reinvestment back in. You're chasing more humans. So coaches help you identify and not end up in that slippery slope.
All right, so kind of along those same lines then, is there any update on building or?
No, I mean, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But part of this, I'm learning to enjoy the process of heading, because I have a hard time heading down a path and it not coming to fruition, especially since I'm public with a lot of it and sharing it. And then I put pressure on myself that I showed people that, so I have to make it happen. I've showed you these bottles, and so now I have to make it happen. So I don't know, but I'm learning to enjoy the discovery. I went and looked at that massive property, the longer term vision. We have a master plan. Who knows? Maybe we buy this lot across the street, or this one here, or we get the yarn building behind us. I don't know. But I'm going to keep chasing to figure out what it is. What I don't want to do is end up levered up to my eyeballs, and then you get on that inventory chase, and you end up in this mess. I want to really enjoy this and do it very, very differently, and do it as responsibly as possible, rather than just taking on a bunch of leverage and having this perceived, this perceived growth that doesn't exist. what I'm sharing, I want to be real, not contrived, because I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that pressure. So, we could probably leverage this. I could probably add 2 or 3 more employees, and we could go buy, rent a building or buy a building, and try to grow into it. But I'm going to do it opposite. I'm going to attempt to do it a little bit more frugally, which is rare for me.
All right. And this has come up. I know you mentioned it last week, and I saw another question about it. Auto Fanatics wheel cleaner. Have you gotten any yet? Have you tested it?
No. I had version 3.0, and it melted the bottle and drained out down my wall. And I only tried it in a spray bottle because you've seen the struggles with the IK foamers, and I'm not a fan of. I now know how to use them, so that's positive. I'm really surprised at how. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. People are always looking for the magic pill. God bless him. He's invested a lot of time and effort. It's not a freaking. I guarantee you, it's not a magic pill. But it if it has less issues chemically, with health and things like that. I think it's viable. And if it's the best wheel cleaner, it's the best wheel cleaner. So yeah, I'll buy some here soon. He's in pre-order status, so he's ordering, filling orders that were early adopters. I'm not an early adopter. I never have been. I tend to, especially since I have 5,000 other products, I don't get all excited about the newest, latest thing. Meguiar's ceramic spray wax. I don't give 2 craps about that. If it's great, that's why, like with Bead Maker, it was 2 years old, and then I tried it and fought it. I don't chase new stuff. About the newest thing I chase is, I'd like to have the latest MacBook Pro just because of performance, but that isn't a new product. It's just an improved product. So I don't have a need to have, Phil's product like right this second. I know what I'm using works, and then we'll improve it. But, we're washing cars here. We're not saving lives. So if I get it 2 years from now or a year from now, whatever,
All right, can you speak to, I saw an email this morning about Kinetech, and then I heard you yesterday mention something about making some product changes, or any of those, something you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to eliminate the clay bar in the decon package because I'm never using it, and I don't want to keep things in there just to sell something. And I find myself never, ever using a clay bar. I keep thinking I'm going to use it, and then I just never do. So I'm going to eliminate a clay bar. Optimum the thing that's forcing me to do this also is Optimum's eliminated a clay bar from their product line. So I think I'm going to eliminate a clay bar from the decon package. I'm also going to eliminate Kinetech and Optimum spray wax. I'm no longer using those. I'm using Bead Maker for both the door jambs, the glass, and the paint. So there's no need for those. So we're going to eliminate those, and I'm going to implement, because you need a gallon of Bead Maker. So the car washing package will be a 32 ounce, which I much prefer, and then a gallon. And then hopefully in the not too distant future, if we get these bottles figured out, I get labels for them. When you buy the car washing package, you'll get the bottle with a label on it with the product in it, if I can, if they allow me to. I know Adams will. I'm guessing P&S will. I don't want to speak out of term, but I'm guessing P&S will let me. I know Optimum will let me put my stuff in my bottles. And again, I'm not going to lie to you and try to pretend like I'm a chemist. I've vetted this and I've tested this. Freaking stupid. I'm going to take the good stuff and put it in a bottle and tell you what it is instead of lying to you and pretending that I'm some guru. So that's what I can think of now. Interior package is also on the short list, and also on the short list is lighting. So having the Scan Grip stuff. I'm going to buy a Delfesco, so I'm thinking about calling Delfesco to add paint depth gauge, even though I'm not a big paint depth gauge advocate. I'm thinking about adding those because I think it's a dream tool, something that you would, like, I'm going to buy the $3,000, $2,400 Positector 300 what is it? Positector B300A Advanced or something like that. So I'm going to get one of those, and then get a Fluke infrared thermometer, because I've got to work on the water spots at some point. So we've got some detail series stuff coming up as well, which I'll be using the products on. So interior package, lighting package, and maybe paint depth gauge, and then Lord only knows what else I'm going to come up with.
All right, what's next on the 1M?
Well, now the motor is all jacked up. I guess this is part of hashtag N54 life, bro. I don't do that, So I ordered new coils and plugs. We're going to change those. I'm going to punt this Cobb tune in the trash. I'm going to do a very conservative, very simple active tune, or maybe we can go back to darn stock. I can't go to stock because I'm still going to remove the secondary cats. The HMS exhaust will be replacing the janky exhaust that's on there, so I'll be putting catted downpipes back on the thing. I don't care if it makes less power. I've got to get it aligned. So next thing is plugs, spark plugs, and coil packs. Then I've got black grills to replace the painted black grill, so get rid of that. I've got the keyhole cover. The exhaust should be after that. Then we have to go get it aligned. To go get an alignment done. The wheels are on it. That video will be up in a couple of days, and just keep working through it. It's going to be sick. I've got to detail it. The wheels are already coated, but I've got to strip the C-quartz off and probably take the PPF off and start over. So that's next for that.
We have, and I'm glad that he popped up here in the chat, actually, Ty, T-A-I-H, because he brings up, he's talking about he just purchased a pressure washing package, and that's someone I've been emailing back and forth with for almost a week now, just to kind of get everything lined up, because he wanted this and he needed this. And so I get a lot of emails about stuff like that from customers who want something a little different, or maybe they don't need a certain part. So if you're in that same spot, please do email me, Chris at Obsessed Garage. I'm happy to work with you. When we do custom stuff, we run into custom issues. It might take a little bit longer. We might have to get this piece and part that you need, and it may take a little longer than just clicking one button and getting it to your door. But I think he's going to be really happy with the end result, because he's getting exactly what he wanted. So just wanted to,
and also try the configurator too.
Yeah.
So we take you through step 1 through 10, and so if you have a gun already and you've got the quick disconnects for it on it, then you can say no, I don't need the gun, and we'll make sure. So when you click the hose, it'll give you the quick disconnects you need for the hose. My suggestion would be, don't try to save $2, because you're going to end up spending $20 trying to cheap out on me because you found the plug for $2 and I've got it for $3. So I'm telling you, just don't go there. You're going to end up with a headache, and then you're going to come back to us and we're going to have to fix it for you, and I'm going to tell you to get lost. So you better email Chris.
Yeah.
He won't tell you to get lost.
I'll tell you just in nicer words. Do you plan on attending the Pacific Northwest OG meetup? I think you're planning on attending all of them, right?
I've already booked, yep.
Okay.
No more meetups. I'm done traveling for the year. So no one come up with a Memphis, Tennessee meetup option. I'm not coming. I'll tell you that right now. So come to Monterey, Pacific Northwest, Smoky Mountains, or just I'm going to be in Los Angeles for a week in March 24th, I believe. So how cool is this? So I'm going to Jay Leno's on Monday, and we're going to do a Krensel pressure washer. Me, Chris, Jeremy from the Leno Car Care line. We're going to do that, shoot some videos. So we'll probably do that for like a day and a half. And then I'm doing the smoking tire. So I asked Freddie to introduce me to Matt. I could have asked Larry to introduce me to Matt too, but I've invited myself onto the smoking tire, and he didn't say no. So we're booked for that that's Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and then I'm heading over the next morning to McGuire's to work on some stuff, play with all their products, get their take on why I choose certain things. I'm going to hammer them on allowing me to get 32 ounces of hyper dressing. That's another product we need to get in the store. and then dig into a little bit more. I'd also like to add probably M101 to the store, so that we have that as a heavy solvent-based cutting option, for when you have stuff that Jescar just isn't capable of getting out. And then I'm coming home. Too much traveling, man. I don't want to do this. I don't like all this. I don't even want to leave tomorrow. I just want to stay here and play with stuff.
Do you have a ride to the airport, by the way?
Yeah, my dad is
Okay.
driving us. Yeah. We're just going to take a car there. It's easier to just pay the $100 than it is to try to get somebody to pick us up and take us back, all that business. That's what I'm also learning how to manage the trips to keep me under control. I just don't like it, and so I tend to obsess more, and so my disorder gets flared up when I do this stuff. And so I'm learning how to manage that, how to do it on my terms, and not do too much. So it's like every other week I'm going somewhere for the next 4 months, which I should be excited about, but I'm not.
You're not a big fan of traveling.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the part of it. I just don't want... I feel like I'm missing out on stuff that I'd rather be doing. I'd rather be playing with my cars. I'd rather be shooting some videos playing with cars. And I don't like it. YouTubers believe that there's just this amazing content when they travel around and do different things. I don't believe that at all. I think the content is way better when you're at home doing what you do best. I'm at home doing what I do best, and rather than trying to look like I'm super interesting. People I think are interested in what they're interested in. They're interested in what they came to you in the first place for, so I don't want to muddy that or water that down too much. Got any other questions?
All right, just a couple, folks. Yeah, we'll wrap it up soon here. We're at almost the 90-minute mark. But a couple of folks asking again about open house. I know we mentioned that before, and they're like looking for a date.
We're looking good on this. I'll nail the date down when I get back, but probably in a couple of weeks. So I might need to give people a little bit more advanced notice. Let's pull that calendar up again here real quickly. I want to do open house / garage sale. I got a lot of crap that I'm going to get rid of. So where is that? That's February. Go back up.
Mm-hmm.
When am I coming back?
Here's today.
Oh, January. Yeah, I mean, shoot. There isn't a lot of space in there, is there? Maybe we'll do it like the weekend of the 15th or something. 15th, 16th, 17th.
It's a long weekend for some people with President's Day. Right after Valentine's Day, you can bring your significant other here.
So let's plan on that. Just put it on there.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get all this crap out of my attic, out of my camera room, out of the upstairs here. Actually, none of it's crap. All the stuff I have is fantastic. You just have all this amazing stuff, all this random amazing stuff. I mean, I've got TVs and stuff. I'm hoping I can raise enough money to buy a 77-inch OLED. I think I can do it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You got a lot of nice stuff.
So I got to sell a bunch of stuff to just to keep clean out things. My mom's already trying to put stuff. I said, no, that's not Obsessed Garage level. So we're gonna do that. Maybe we'll actually have a sale on products too. What do you think? I just made that up right now.
I like it.
Yeah.
People that come, like you have to be here to get the sale.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe we should do that too. Do a sale like 10% off, something like that. We're going to call it our spring Obsessed Garage spring cleaning, and or maybe create something a little more clever. We'll do it that weekend, so it'll be a standing open house. Maybe like Saturday morning or something, or Saturday at like noon, or maybe at 11. We'll live stream and walk the products. And all the stuff that we have, so Chris will do a live stream explanation of everything's for sale and the pricing. This is going to be a non-negotiable garage sale because I don't like that crap. And, well, you're asking 12. How about I give you 8? How about I punch you in the face? No. I asked 12 because I really wanted 18, so I said 12. Let's just do it. Just buy it. and play these stupid games. Well, if you don't ask, you won't get it. Well, don't ask me because you're not going to get it. I'll do it just to spite you. I'd rather throw it away or light it on fire than play those goofy games. So that's, by the way, that never ever works with me. Just FYI, when you do the, well, I figured if I didn't ask, then I wouldn't get it. Well, if you ask, you're definitely not getting it, and I probably won't even respond. So
Yeah,
don't-
so we'll
don't
work
do
on
that.
all the details for that and get that sorted out. And
I'm in rare form today. You're gonna keep me going. I'm gonna.
the bullcrap counter, we're at 29 pieces of the word bullcrap. And just as an update, we have 58 thumbs up and 15 thumbs down now. So
Oh,
for those of you who weren't here at the beginning, before we even started streaming, there were 4 thumbs down somehow and 5 thumbs up. So people were voicing their opinions without us even being here. That's nice.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I got.
It's good timing because the old Dominion truck just pulled up and your seats are here.
I'm out. I got to make this darn dissection video. I got my axe. This thing is gnarly, dude. Look at this thing. Yeah. It's even sharpened. I'm going to do some serious
Could get my
damage.
eye protection.
Yeah, eye protection. Don't make any comments about, well, you should be wearing eye protection. Don't be a baby. You don't spontaneously grab an 8-pound sledge axe and go sensibly get your darn your safety glasses out. You go out and you swing and you turn your head. That's what you do. And you don't worry about where other people are. Anyway, we're out of here.
All right. See you guys next week.
Appreciate it.